What's up, Make Pop Music? It's Austin here from Austin Hall Audio and Visual and Make Pop Music, and today I am back to answer a question that we get asked really often on this channel, and that is going to be, what DAW do I use, why I picked that DAW, and what DAW should people kind of go for if they're just getting started or if they're looking to kind of upgrade their system. I do want to preface this video by saying that choosing your DAW is very preference-based. Some people want something that's Mac only, some want PC only, some need something that's going to work on both, some like the actual look of one DAW opposed to another, some like the functionality of one DAW opposed to another. So it's really opinion based, and it really has to all do with workflow. You can get really good results out of any professional DAW at this point. Everything is super digital, everything is super easy to work with, so it's really going to be what makes sense to you, what's the right price, what's the easiest to use for you, and what's going to improve your efficiency and your workflow. But for those of you that watch, you might know. If you don't, I am using Cubase 10 Pro. I've been using Cubase basically since I started production. I used Mixcraft a little bit as I started, but once I got ready to actually get into a professional DAW, something that had a little bit more power, that was a bit more of a workhorse, that's when I swapped to Cubase, and throughout my entire professional career, I have been using Cubase. So I started at 8.5, then I went to 9.5, then I went to 10. I do want to talk about some of the reasons that I chose Cubase over some of the competitors at the start, but before that, I do just want to go ahead and say that towards the end of this video, we are going to be announcing a special competition that we're going to be hosting, and within that competition, Steinberg has actually reached out to have us go ahead and give away a copy of Cubase 10 Pro, which is what I've been using in all of these videos. So if you like the look, if you like the layout, if you want to be able to follow the videos along, go ahead and join the group, because on Friday, April 19th, we are going to be announcing all of the competition in the group. I'll go ahead and give you some brief rundowns at the end of this video, but if you want to actually join and read everything, go ahead and join the group. It'll be the pin post on Friday, April 19th. So thank you so much to Steinberg for actually reaching out and sponsoring the competition. We really appreciate it. Hopefully some of y'all will get a chance to win Cubase 10 Pro, and then that way y'all can just follow along and try it. So let's actually talk about why I have picked Cubase and kind of what some of the pros have been compared to some of the competitors, because it is such a big market right now, and it can be hard and a little bit overwhelming to kind of pick one over the other. So the first reason that I picked Cubase is because at the time I didn't know if I wanted to stay Mac or PC. So I was on a PC, and I definitely couldn't afford a Mac that would be hosting all of my audio stuff that would be powerful enough. So I needed something that was going to work with PC at the time, but I'm still kind of undecided on if I'll ever move to a Mac. And a lot of the time, if you're going to a second studio that's going to have a system there, a lot of the time they're using a Mac. So I did want to work on something that could be compatible with both. So that knocked out something like Logic immediately for me. I wasn't able to use that because I was on PC, and I just wanted to be able to kind of go back and forth between units and really not notice. So all of the VSTs that I use and Cubase are all Windows and Mac compatible, so I'll never really have any issues with that. So it's really nice being able to go back and forth between systems. I don't ever have to worry that one day if I decide to go with another system, Cubase is not going to work on me. The second reason that I picked Cubase is because generally DAWs are kind of known for something, right? So Pro Tools has been the industry standard for years, right? Because tons of people used to use it when people were first starting to use computers, and honestly, it's pretty good at all of the analog routing and doing your summing, and the editing features are really nice. So a lot of people that are engineering or they're mixing love Pro Tools, and I've used it in studios before. I couldn't quite get with it just because Cubase kind of has all of those same features that I've ever used. The editing in Cubase is super simple. All of the routing is super simple. You've got stuff like Control Room where you can control talkbacks, separate monitors, so you get all of those features where if you are doing analog recording or outboard recording, you still can operate all of that within your digital workstation, but you're not limited to only doing that kind of stuff, because Pro Tools MIDI function is pretty lacking. So for someone like me who's writing a lot of MIDI, who's doing a lot of digital orchestration, digital composition, Pro Tools was crossed out pretty early for me just because I hated the MIDI features. It wasn't really geared towards somebody that's like a songwriter or a producer, in my opinion. So that kind of crossed out Pro Tools, and that gave Cubase a leg up on that. And then on the other side, you have other things like FL Studios or Ableton, which are really cool production softwares. Like, they have a lot of cool features like the rack, which Cubase has started to implement in their side racks anyway. And then you've got stuff in Ableton like all of the plugins coming up on the bottom, which are really cool, and they're really nice for workflow. You've got like the step sequencer in FL Studios, but to me, those were a little harder to get in the analog side of things, so mixing and editing on those was a little clunky. So where Pro Tools had all the mixing and editing features that were solid, and Ableton and FL Studios had all of the production features that were really solid, honestly, I needed something that had a little bit of both. So that's why I picked Cubase, is because on Cubase, I can definitely go in, record any virtual instrument I want. The MIDI layout is by far my favorite out of any DAW I've ever used. It's got, you know, orchestration software. It's got all of these different kind of tools that you can use. And then in addition to that, you've got your analog stuff. So like you've got all of your slopes with editing. You can do all of your, you know, actual clip gain editing. You can do your automation where you've got automation curves. Now you've got all of these things in Cubase that you can actually use to go ahead and slip edit your stuff. You've even got updates where now you can do stuff like vocal line in it, where you can just highlight one track, bounce it, and then you can just bounce all of your other duplicate vocals to that, so it'll perfectly time align them. So Cubase pays attention, and they make sure that they're really, really delivering the analog features that you're going to want for editing and for mixing, and then the actual composition features that you're going to want for like MIDI capabilities, you know, just digital workstation stuff. The third reason I picked Cubase was because honestly, out of everybody that I tried, I liked their virtual instruments the most and the stock plugins that it came with the most. So I use, if you've seen the videos, I use a ton of Cubase's stock stuff. I use Hali and Sonic a lot. I use Pad Shop a lot. I use Groove Agent in literally everything I do. I love their tools like Rotary. Their chorus is pretty solid. They've got really good reverbs. In my opinion, you really don't need any kind of extra software if you're getting Cubase and you're a beginner. You don't have to go ahead and, you know, like maybe with Pro Tools, download Pro Tools and then you need some virtual instruments because they're kind of lacking. Or, you know, maybe you want some third-party kind of effects because Pro Tools are kind of minimal and easy. So you get all of those things. And then Cubase goes even a step farther than really any other DAW. Some DAWs come with Melodyne, which I don't ever really like Melodyne. It's never really clicked with me workflow-wise, but Cubase actually has something called Very Audio Integrated. And you've seen me use this for vocal tuning. You've seen me use it for just pitching stuff. You can also do stuff like time alignment. You can do stuff like actual pitch shifts where you can just wind it down. So you've got all of those really, really cool effects that maybe something like Lo-Fi and Pro Tools had, or something like Melodyne and Studio One had, but they all work in your DAW, so you're not constantly bouncing stems to tune your vocals and then having to re-upload them. You don't have to do offline bouncing. You've got all of that in your DAW. So between, you know, stuff like Hali and Sonic, Pad Shop, and then you've got like Retrolog, Prolog, all of those things. Those are really, really sick virtual instruments. Then you've got all of their VST actual effects, which are really, really solid and could definitely be used in a final mix. And then you've got the extra bonuses, like you've got the vocal line now, you've got the actual pitch editing and Very Audio, you've got their whole audio suite where you can do all of those offline bouncing processes. So you really are getting a ton in Cubase where you don't really need to go to many third-party plugins if you don't want to. The fourth reason I chose Cubase is stability. So a lot of people, this is going to be the most important. I actually downloaded a couple other DAWs just to kind of give them a try, and most of them would have at least 1 or 2 crashes either every day or every other day. And just some DAWs are just not that stable. Like the more tracks you get, the more they're going to crash, the more they're just going to randomly close out. Sometimes they don't save session files. And honestly, this being my job, I really can't afford to have my workflow compromised by my DAWs closing out, getting error messages all the time. And with Cubase, honestly, if you're running it on a really, really solid system, you shouldn't be having too many issues where it's going to crash and just absolutely destroy your session. I've never had a session be corrupt where I couldn't open it back up. And out of the entire time that I've had Cubase, so like 3.5 years, I think I've maybe had 1 or 2 sessions kind of lock up, freeze up, and then close out. So, I mean, 2 out of 3 years is a super, super good ratio for digital workstations. So I really wanted something that was going to be sturdy, and Cubase has kind of been that for me. So I love it. And again, all of this is my own opinion. They're not paying me to say any of this stuff. They did reach out to kind of give away something with our competition, but they really just wanted me to kind of let you guys know what I like about Cubase, and even some stuff that I don't like about Cubase, because, you know, nothing's ever perfect. So take everything that I'm saying as my own opinion. Cubase didn't ask me to say anything. They just wanted me to kind of let you guys know that we are going to be doing a competition. And the fifth reason I chose Cubase, this is going to be the last one we kind of touch on today, because there are a million reasons that I actually did choose Cubase, and there are a million different walkthroughs on the internet where you can actually go through and watch people kind of open up all the different parts. But I just want to deliver kind of the 5 reasons that I personally picked it and kind of highlight those. And that last 5th reason is going to be just because their customer support is so good. Anytime I've ever had an issue, I can just reach out and somebody will respond pretty much immediately. Their e-licenser software has never given me an issue ever. All I have to do is I just have the little little USB dongle that any computer that I go to that has Cubase downloaded, I just take that, plug that in, and it's super easy. It's done. There's never any issues whatsoever. If you're on Cubase 10, you can go ahead and just backlog stuff. So if somebody sends you a session on Cubase 5, you can go ahead and open it. There's really no compatibility issues. And then other than that, honestly, they're just really, really, really good with their upgrades. So every time they do an upgrade, it's always features that I've seen people talking about online that they want to see. I upgraded to Cubase 10 probably a month or two ago, and since I have it, it's improved my workflow a ton, because 9.5 was really, really solid, but with 10, you do have those improved features. So now you have like auto vocal alignment, which is really, really helpful if you're doing vocal stacks. You've also got stuff where now you can take actual snapshots of the mixer screen. So if I need to do a live bounce, I can just snapshot that as one thing. If I need to do, you know, an alternative version, or somebody has a mix revision, instead of saving different files, I can just take different snapshots of my actual control panel, and then I can just open those up. So I don't have to have millions of versions of the same project. I can just have snapshots in there. Now you've got stuff like the file browser. So to me, that was like one of the big features of Ableton that I really liked at first that Cubase didn't have when I started. Or I mean, they kind of did. They had like media browser, but it was a little clunky. And now it's just integrated in the side panel, and it's so much easier to use. So that was a huge upgrade. You've got all of your snapshots to where you can just put, you know, pictures of your VSTs to where you can go to that, double click it, and it'll open that VST. So everything is really hands-on with Cubase now. And these upgrades have been very, very focused based on what customers and, you know, people that were actually using Cubase wanted. So they listen to their audience. They are down to make upgrades. Their upgrades are super cheap when they actually do make a substantial upgrade. Anything that's like a 10.1 or a 10.2, those are all free. But if you're going from like 10 to 10.5 or 9.5 to 10, if you're doing any upgrades like that, normally it's between like 50 and $100 depending on what last version you have, and then, you know, when you're actually getting the upgrade. So for one, yeah, customer service is just always good. They're going to answer you no matter what. For two, they are listening to their customers, and they are trying to build the DAW to be something that you actually want to use. And for three, I just think you get the most bang for your buck. Honestly, it's not a cheap program. It is something that's going to be an investment, but if you're in it every day, if every song's going to start there, it helps to have all of the VSTs and all of the effects and all of the audio units like Very Audio. It helps to have good customer service. It helps to have a DAW that you can customize the layout in. You can change the color palette in. You can save all of your buses and groups and folders. To me, it was just by far the easiest DAW to use. It was the easiest to get around. It just makes the most sense to me. Like, honestly, just for example, the other day my dad came over with his fiance and her kids, and one of her kids is really, really into audio production, and he's just kind of been dabbling around on GarageBand, and he came in here, was super interested by all the music stuff. So I basically opened Cubase, showed him around for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then he basically just sat in here and made music while we all hung out in there, had a couple drinks, just talked a little bit. And honestly, he's like almost 12 years old, and within 5 or 10 minutes of messing around on Cubase, he was doing entire projects, entire demos, and all he had ever used was GarageBand. It is super intuitive to use. It's so easy. I swear to God, if you try it, you're gonna fall in love with it. Anybody that I know that's ever tried Cubase basically sticks with it. And again, I'm not trying to sell you on Cubase. They're not paying me to say any of this. I don't have like a coupon code or a discount code or anything. I just really wanted to talk about why I chose that DAW, because we see the conversation popping up every day. What DAW should I pick? What DAW is the best DAW? Really, that's all preference, and this is all just my preference. So I wanted to kind of lay it out on the line, tell you what I like about it, and then just kind of tell you, you know, why I'm so adamant about using Cubase, and why I'm super, super excited that they've actually partnered up with us to do a competition. So now's the time. Let's actually talk a little bit about that competition. I'm not going to give away all the details, because we are going to have a pinned post in the group on Friday, April 19th, that's basically going to have a video of me kind of describing everything, and then us just giving every single detail that you could want in that, but just some overarching details so you can actually get stoked on it. We are doing a production competition. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide everybody with a vocal and a piano track. So you can choose to use the piano, or you can just scrap it all together. You really just have to keep the vocal the same, and you can produce something as minimal or as complex as you want around it. You can do reharmonization with the chords, and you can put your own chord progressions. You just can't change the key or the tempo of the actual vocal. So it's basically going to be like a project brief coming from a client that's going to give you a demo that's like, produce an entire song around this. So what we're going to do is we're going to open that up, basically let you take it any genre, kind of have any parameters you want within that, just keep the vocal the same and produce around that. So we're super excited to see what people do. We are going to have it open for about a month, and the prizes are going to be, like I said before, Cubase 10 Pro, and it's going to be a full license forever. It's not like a monthly thing or some kind of like, you know, subscription service. You are just going to own it forever. We're going to send you a little flash drive that's actually got it on it, and that's your e-licenser. It's going to be super simple. And then you'll also get all of the Make Pop Music products, courses, etc. So you'll get all of our sample packs, all of our courses, the new MIDI packs, all of the things that we're launching right now. So anything that has been released by us, you'll get, and Cubase 10 Pro, you'll also get. So I'm super, super excited that they reached out to actually sponsor this production competition. We just did a top lining competition a little while ago, and everybody loved it. So I'm really, really excited that we have the opportunity to do this again. And honestly, I would like to just thank Steinberg so much for actually letting us host this competition and doing this. It means a lot, especially since this is a DAW that I've used on my own for years. Having somebody reach out and want to actually connect with the community was huge for me, and I'm hoping that, you know, we'll get some really, really, really good entries, and then, you know, we'll be able to pick somebody that's going to be able to actually transition over to Cubase. Maybe you can actually follow the videos a little bit closer, follow the courses that we have a little bit closer. And if you're watching this and you're just kind of looking for a new DAW to spice things up, or you're not happy in your current one, definitely download like a trial or a demo of Cubase. You can even download like the Essentials or the Artist and just try those out. If you are going to do this and you do it professionally, I really, really suggest just upgrading to Pro, getting all of the plugins that they have, and just going all out for it. But hopefully, you know, we'll see you in the group entering the competition. Like I said, we'll have all the details tomorrow, Friday, April 19th. We'll have the whole post about it. If you're stoked about the competition, let us know below. Let us know what kind of competitions you guys want to see in the future. And then if you are on Cubase, let us know some of the things that you like about it and some of the things you would like to see improved. That way we can actually get some people from Cubase in here actually getting, you know, feedback for it. So when they're doing upgrades and updates in the future, they can actually take that into consideration. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys can understand a little bit why I chose Cubase and what I like about it. And for now, that will be it. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Much love, Make Pop Music. Woo! I messed that up. Much love, Make Pop Music. Peace out.